Hi everybody, it's Cynthia Bredner, and I'm just looking at my little book here called Waterbugs and Dragonflies, and I just feeling like doing casual videos, so that's what I'm doing, casual videos. I'm not putting a lot of thought into them, I'm just putting my thoughts into video. So one of the things that I've been talking with the Bradford Women's Group about is the difference between spirituality and religion, and doing an actual in-person thing on that in the fall when we can hopefully get back together again. And as I look at all of that, at talking about the difference between spirituality and religion and the work that I've done over the years and my own personal journey of trying to figure out who am I and what's the message that I'm trying to bring to people? What is it that I want to say? I really am, I'm not sure. I think I know in my own heart, but it's how do I do it? I'm not sure. One of the things that is really passionate to me, and people always wonder why, is end of life. End of life is one of the things that just speaks to my heart. As joy-filled as people are when a baby is being born and when there's new life happening, I feel that same joy at end of life. And I know many find that disturbing. They're just unsure of how does that happen. And I want to just take a minute today to try to describe what I mean by that. Am I happy someone has died? No, that's not the point. The point of the work that I do is understanding the celebration of death to make it equal to the celebration of birth. And that is a far deeper story. And it intertwines with grief. It intertwines with sadness. And it intertwines with our own personal story of life here on earth. This little book that I'm telling you that I'm reading about is about the story of some waterbugs and dragonflies, and how it opens up as it says, down below the surface of a quiet pond lived a little colony of waterbugs. They were a happy colony living far away from the sun. For many months they were very busy scurrying over the soft mud on the bottom of the pond. They did notice that every once in a while one of their colonies seemed to lose interest in going about with its friends, and its clinging to the stem of a pond lily, it gradually moved out of sight and was seen no more. "Look," said one of the water bugs to another one of the colony, "our friends is climbing up the lily stalk. Where do you suppose they are going?" Up, up, up it went very slowly, and even as they watched, the water bug disappeared from sight. Its friends waited and waited, but it didn't return. "That's funny," said one water bug to another. "Weren't they happy here?" said another. "Where do you suppose they went?" wondered a third, and no one had an answer. They were greatly puzzled. We deal with that all the time, don't we? We hustle and bustle around here on earth, and we love each other, and we carry on, and we have our arguments, we have our friends, we have our families, we have our jobs, we have our duties, we have things that we need to be doing. And then all of a sudden, someone dies. They climb up the stalk, and everybody stops and notices and says, "Where are they going? Oh my gosh, they're gone. Where did they go? And what are they doing? And why can't they come back?" The children are always asked that question, is will they be back? Can they come back? And in our adulthood, we know in our hearts that that physical person knows that they won't be back. But can we deal with the fact of, can we believe that they are here all the time spiritually? They're in our hearts, they're in our souls, they're in our beings, they're part of our DNA makeup because they were part of our lives. So when we're asking where did they go, that's the big, deep question. And that's where religion comes in, because often the explanation is, oh, they've gone to heaven. Well, if they've gone to heaven, then what about if they've gone the other direction, what everybody talks about? Where do they go? I think I've talked in a previous video about the fact that I believe that there's a soul place. I believe that there's a spirit place where the spirit returns to. But I don't think it's that far removed from what we are here in this earthly plane as we think it is. So as these little water bugs are watching, then finally one day one of the water bugs, a leader in the colony, gathered its friends together. "I have an idea," The next one of us who climbs up the lily stalk must promise to come back and tell us where they went and why. So they all promised. So one spring day, not long after that, that very water bug who suggested the plan found himself at the lily stalk, and up they went. And before they knew what was happening, they popped through the top of the water. When they awoke, they looked around with surprise and couldn't believe what they saw. A startling change had come over the old body. The movement revealed 4 silver wings and a long tail, and even as he struggled, they felt an impulse to move the wings. The warmth of the sun soon dried and the moisture from the new body. They moved their wings again and again and finally found themselves up in the air. They had become a dragonfly, swooping and dipping in great curves. They flew through the air and felt exhilarated in the new atmosphere. By and by, the new dragonfly lighted happily on the lily pad to rest, and it was then that they noticed in the pond below were the friends that they had left behind. They were scurrying about and doing their business. When the dragonfly remembered the promise, they tried to go under the water to go back to the friends and tell them what was going on, and realized that they couldn't return. They were not able to return. At least I try, but I can't keep my promise. Even if I could go back, not one of the water bugs would know me anyway in my new body. I guess I'll just have to wait till they become a dragonfly too. And then they'll understand what happened to me, and it'll happen to them as well. So as we use a dragonfly or a butterfly as a metaphor for our lives as humans, we can maybe see the possibility of better understanding what happens after death. And there's an excitement around that. If we can gather that and join in it and see it and understand it, and most of all, talk about it with our families, it makes it less scary. I'm looking into a program called the Death Doula, and I'm wanting to become certified with that alongside of the other things that I love to do. I've discovered that I love to study, I love to learn, and when I can be closer to understanding how to talk with people, I will be a happier person. I also hope to do some work around conversation with death, around death, talking about the scary things. This most recent COVID situation or isolation situation has brought death to the surface. We hear about it every day on the news. Every day we're hearing about the deaths. And you know, it's interesting because I think it's bringing it home to roost with different families. They're opening the death conversation. Have you talked with your loved ones about what does your death look like? What do you want it to look like? What are your choices when it comes to life support? What do you want as a celebration of life? What is it you'd like to see the family do that you would think is a good send-off for the human life that you lived here on this earth? Have you talked with your children about death and where we go and make it less scary for them? I think we all need to have those conversations, because when we look at the butterfly or the dragonfly and think about that they may like to come back, they can't, then we can better understand that if we're prepared and can talk about it, then those that are left behind may live a better human life after you may have moved on to the spirit world. If you have any questions about death or want to talk about it or have a conversation, I'm here for you. I'm always available to do that. As I've told you before, I do hospice calls. I call people who are grieving and who are sad. I will sit with anyone who wants to have some time. So we can do it by Zoom, we can do it on the phone, we can do it any way that you'd like to do it. Or when this is all over, we can do it over a cup of coffee at the local coffee shop. I would love that. So, Bradford, take care. Keep yourself healthy. Wash your hands. And if you're looking for this little story, it's called Waterbugs and Dragonflies. It came to me through the Resource Center of the United Church of Canada, and I'm excited to share it with you. So, thanks for your time today. Have a great day.